Hey everybody, Pixel Pino back with you. I appreciate you tuning in. This last couple months has been crazy. Between gaming, collecting, and doing business, I've been on a wild ride. So come with me and hang on tight. So I want to go over some of the things that I picked up recently. At the Comic-Con, I went to the Prescott Valley Fandomania a couple weeks ago, and at that Comic-Con, I was representing Pixel We'll get more on that in just a moment. But while I was there wasn't any other vendors in the local shop. They did stash away a few things. I ended up picking up one of those things later after the show. But I didn't do any hunting, but I did pick up a game. The local game shop owner for Black Box Gaming, Allison, she was so kind as to come by my booth and drop off the Bible game. It's sort of a trivia game. I hear it's sort of bad for that genre, but it's now part of the collection. So thank you, Allison, for that. I appreciate it. This last week I did get a few things in. I stopped in at the shop and I was able to pick up a few things out of the dollar bin. Every time I go, I always check out the dollar bin, see what's in there. So some of the things that I recently picked up in the dollar bin there, Pro Move Soccer for the Sega Genesis. Pro Move Soccer, haven't tested it out, never played it, but it's got a good label, and I don't have it in the collection, so I figured I'd throw it in for $1. Another one that I picked up is Espn Baseball Tonight, Super Nintendo. I'd never seen this one before, but there's dime a dozen for sport games, right? But the great thing about this is it's $1. Can't go wrong with that. I have a Donkey Kong 3 cartridge that doesn't seem to work. No matter what I do, Brasso, alcohol, it's not working. So I was debating maybe Frankensteining this and soldering the board, desolder the chip on the Donkey Kong 3, and then maybe solder it on here if I have the same board. So I don't know, but it was $1. I can always Frankenstein it. Otherwise, if I decide that I don't want to, it'll just go in the collection for $1. Then I picked up Madden 2001. This here is still sealed. It is torn a little bit. There's a little bit of cellophane popping out here, but essentially it's all sealed, so I couldn't go wrong with that. So Madden 2001. My most recent pickup for my dollar bin that I'm actually really excited, it's got a really good label, is Yars Revenge. Yars Revenge is considered one of the greater games of the Atari's 2600, also followed by the same designer. One of the worst games, E.T., the extraterrestrial, but it has a nice label. It's really clean. So for $1, I don't have Yars of Revenge in my collection, but I do now. So I was able to pick up Little Samson, a repro. Little Samson looks like Pocket Games 2015. Was able to test this out. Plays just like I remember it. I did play an actual copy by my buddy Retro J. He has a copy at his house, and I didn't see any differences. So it is a really good game. From all the reviews, I did get to test this and sit down and play for about 35 minutes. So I really like how it handles. It's a really exciting game to get into. But at this point in my collection, I don't have $1,000 to get a loose cart Little Samson. Before Tony Hawk was in existence, before ATV Off-Road, before all of the, like do tricks and race kind of games. I mean, we had Hydro Thunder, we had Cruisin' USA, and we had traditional, more like racing style games. We didn't have anything with like tricks and grinding or anything like that. In that genre, when I grew up, I played Uniracers. It's a really, really fun game. I remember late summer nights with friends, we'd sit down and we just race. So Uniracers, a great addition to the library. So in the mail, I also got a mouse pad along with the mouse for the Nintendo and Mario Paint. I already had a booklet for this, so I think without some of the promotion, I'm one box away from being considered close to complete in box. I would need some promotional material, but I know I could probably let people know this is what I got if I want to trade or sell down the road, and I could consider it complete in box. Mario Paint is a solid pickup. These pretty much run a dime a dozen. The pad and the mouse, they're not crazy expensive, but this wasn't the main reason I got it. I did have the booklet already, and I figured, okay, I do want to get a bundle because I had my eye on another game at Black Box Gaming. That game was Tin Star. Tin Star is you're like a cowboy robot, and it's a really fun comic style, bright and vivid colors set in the Wild West, and you shoot it up sort of like a arcade shooter. But with this game, you can play it on the D-pad, so you can use a regular Super Nintendo controller. You can use the Super Scope, or you can use the mouse and the keyboard. So I find that this pairing right here is by far the best pairing. It's actually really accurate and really quick to respond. There's actually a storyline to it, and so it makes it fun. It's like reading a comic book. It's really bright and vivid, but again, you play as a robot cowboy. So Tin Star. So that brings me to my next pickup. I was able to find something that wasn't quite sure if it was working. The screen did something, but they said it was listed as is. But it was 75% less than you normally get, maybe even more. So I was able to pick up an NES. This is the system that started it all for me. Classic Nintendo Entertainment System. But I was able to get this. I was able to put in one of my most fresh games. I had to jiggle it around a little bit, but I was able to get it to work. So I haven't replaced the 72-pin adapter on it. I don't know if it needs it, but I'll use one of my cleaners that goes in and can clean the 72 pins in the back, and see if that helps it at all. And then if I need to, maybe take it out and clean it by hand or do a 72-pin replacement. But that's a totally different video. But this here was a great pickup for just like 75% of the normal cost. That brings me to this weekend. At the Game On Expo in Phoenix, at the Phoenix Convention Center. I met a lot of great people. I did a lot of business, and that was one of my main focuses. So I didn't actually get to game hunt very much. We got there at 10 o'clock. It's Agent Retro and I got there around 10 o'clock when the doors opened, and I don't think I started looking at the game bins until about 3 o'clock. But in the meantime, I was doing a lot of marketing, a lot of talking to other people. I was handing out business cards and talking a lot about the Pixel Protectors. And so, I did a favor for It's Agent Retro, and he felt obliged to pay me back, even though I told him he didn't owe me one bit. And he was looking for Star Trek Next Generation, and he hadn't had it in his collection. He was one on his list. And he found a shop that had both Star Trek Next Generation and Star Trek 25th Anniversary. He decided to try to work a deal on both of them, maybe a couple others, and got it all wrapped in on a deal. He was able to get Star Trek Next Generation, and even though I refused it, he was able to pick me up Star Trek 25th Anniversary. He knows I'm a big Trekkie, and so this game here, I've never played it, but it's a really nice label, really good condition. Excited to play it. It's Star Trek. Can't go wrong with that. I wanted to cruise some bins and see if I can get some NES deals. I was looking for Rodea for the Wii U, looking for Lost in Shadow on the Wii. I was looking for Extermination on the PlayStation 2. I just didn't seem to find a lot of it. It was more discs than anything. I didn't see a lot of Nintendo or SNES. It seemed like everyone had some, but it was very little quantities. Versus some of the other disc games, but there were still enough there. Maybe it just got picked through on day one, and we were there on day two. But I didn't. Again, I still was browsing very little because I was just moving along and talking to people and meeting new people and things like that. But while I was out, I was browsing through I think it was Blue Tower Games. I met the owners. They're from Southern California, and they had all their stuff out. And I was going through some of their Nintendo games, and I saw Shadowgate, and Shadowgate didn't have a price on it, front and back. I was like, I don't know. what's your going rate on this? And he's like, well, make me an offer. And I was already looking through the stack. I probably should have picked up a couple more games, but I saw Fester's Quest, and I knew the price on Fester's Quest, and he had it labeled at $5. I think he's going for $4, so it was a little bit high, but he didn't have this labeled. So I offered him $9 for both, which is great, because if I got this for $5 and I got this for $4, I think this is still going for about $8 or so, $7-8. So I saved a few bucks, but that was the only deal I did. And then that's pretty much it. And so I was very happy to have both of these. I play a lot of both of these, never got past the sewer on this, and never got past maybe 5 or 6 or 7 screens, but this is a point and click adventure, and it's so awesome. So I'm excited to have this both in a good label condition, and I'll be playing those hopefully soon. I was able to talk to Pat the NES Punk and Ian from Luna Games in San Diego. I dropped off some PixeProtectors with them. Pat was very inquisitive as to what the material was, where I got the material, like who made them for me, and it's like, I know who made them, I do this on my own. And he was very excited and impressed about that. And hopefully I'll see some good report. I saw John Riggs and Radical Reggie. They were both working the same booth, and John Riggs was there selling cartridges. I knew I wanted to pick up a cartridge. He did not have Mr. Gimmick. He sold them all in Missouri, and that's okay. He had a few of the others still there. He was selling them along with some t-shirts, handing out his business card, which is a cool cleaning card for NES games. And so I ran into him, and we were able to talk a little bit about business. I was able to drop off some custom PixeProtectors geared towards some of the games that he was bringing to the convention. He didn't have all those games, but I still dropped them off. He was very impressed, and I'm hoping, really hoping, that that kind of contact just creates a lot of good rapport and made a good impact. So I was able to do that, and we were able to work out a deal, and I was able to pick up one of his repros. And so my buddy Retro J, he was there as well. He was filming, and he suggested that, you know, since Mr. Gimmick's not there, he knew of Sweet Home. Sweet Home is a game released out in Japan, never came here. Essentially one of the very first survival horror games of all time. I was able to pop it in, test it out, and there's some party members, and the mechanics are interesting, something I haven't really seen. But it's really cool. The storyline already just going into it. And how do you say survival horror in a Nintendo game? And it's not like dark, you know. It's not dark. It's a bright, but it's really cool because of the music and the story already driving it along. It's sort of that eerie presence. So you can do a lot with 8-bit graphics, storyline, and music. So Sweet Home. So guys, that's all I picked up recently. There's just been a lot more collecting than there has been playing, because I've been so focused in on Pixel projects and the PixeProtector line. Not only am I doing the NES stuff, but I'm also doing N64 prototypes. That's a really exciting venture for me. So in the NES line, I'll be doing custom graphics like this and selling them for a reasonable cost, about what it would cost to buy a regular Nintendo branded one, or maybe even a reasonable cost to the ones that are being reproduced out of China that are just like black. But here I'm providing a little theme and little color, and I'm so excited to bring this to the market. I'm hoping here in the month of August 2018 that I'm online selling these so that people can outfit some of their favorite games and put them on their display shelves, and they can, while they're not playing them, they can enjoy, you know, keeping an eye on them and showing them to friends and families. I was able to talk to John Riggs and Radical Reggie. I was able to talk to Thor with Beat 'em Up Games, the Game Chasers, 8-Bit Eric, some of the local shops and everything. And so I was able to chit chat with them, drop off some samples, drop off my business card, and I even networked with some of the Dust Protector guys that were down there. I networked with Tower Games in Southern California. I networked with 8-Bit Kitty Games, and I was able to just, you know, touch base, be a face, say hello, shake some hands, and I hope that maybe some some cooperative work between businesses could happen. Maybe I can fulfill some orders for them as well. So keep an eye out for that. I'll keep you posted on any updates. I'm definitely going to touch back in when I go live. I'm both going to do it on my Facebook business page, Pixel Projects. I'm going to do it on Instagram, which is, you can find me at Pixel Pino, and I'm going to do a video here on YouTube, which is my channel, Pixel Pino. And so you'll definitely know when I go online, and I'll have all this product available. It'll probably be a limited quantity for now, because my manufacturing process is pretty down, but I'm one guy producing these in my garage, and so it's definitely a passion project. I don't have an assembly line with a bunch of workers, but this is something that I really am excited and passionate about, and I hope that you guys grasp onto it, able to tell friends and family that are into retro gaming that they can pick up a few sleeves. And again, you don't have to have 700 games to enjoy Pixel Protectors, and you probably don't want 700 sleeves, and you don't have to have one and find this obsolete. It's for everyone in between. You can have one Nintendo game, or you can have 678 games. It really doesn't matter. But this here is something that I'm really excited to bring to the market, really excited to offer to you guys. So if you have any questions or any comments, go ahead and leave them down below, and I'll try to get back to you on a personal message there, or you can come to the Facebook business page, Pixel Projects, or even follow me on Instagram at Pixel Pino. I'll be glad to answer any questions about timelines, what they're made out of. I won't give away any trade secrets, but I'm definitely want to make sure that you guys know you can get in touch with me. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm very passionate about everything going on, business related, game collecting, game playing. And so until next time, keep smashing buttons, knocking elbows, and keep on gaming on.